doing the Makimon Void Quest. Also, this is a bit of a different stream video as I don't have the usual interface that I do when doing my normal streams, and I just didn't want to use it anymore. So yeah. Anyways, we're back on YouTube with another Ghost Simulator live stream. So WHEEEE. Oh yeah, I'm also joined by some people in the same Void server that I'm in. Later on, I'm going to be grinding boss bow to get my pet levels up, specifically for my cosmic wings, because I want them to be max level. I know it's been like a couple days since I got some cosmic wings. Because so yeah, probably after the digital remnant finding piece. It's just, yeah. Next I have to do Thexes, and then after Thexes I do Goro 7, and then I talk to and then we 5 million gems in my gem pouch currently. Don't ask why I'm friends with all of these guys. I'm just gonna teleport to Papa Yaya 00, another fellow Ghost Simulator YouTuber, although like me, they don't upload all that often, so... But unlike me, I do live streams like every 2 weeks, or at least anytime that I get the chance to do a stream and want to do a stream. Unsween tea. I don't know why it hasn't decided to load in. Ignore this. I can always get more lucky cats. something. Gonna look. Alright, we're just going to look for some, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I hate when my mouse just dies. Like, bro, I actually want to do some stream editing and not suffer through you just bleh. Don't mind me. I'm just going to. One moment, technical difficulties. I'm having issues with my goddamn mouse. So, I still vividly remember this one game that I used to play where you just like you have to make some pretty disgusting looking dishes with disgusting looking ingredients, but it was probably in the theme of something that I forgot. Anyone know what that game was? Because yes, it's buried deep in my memories and I can still remember me playing it, but no, I don't remember the name or what it was supposed to be. plot twist, I'm not actually laughing. Clearly your humor is about as subpar as mine. Oh my god, I have the rarest kind of zoom gum in game. The glitchy zoom gum. And I just happen to have like nearly 2,000 things of it. I want to give it away. Please, someone take all my spare zoom gum. I really only need enough to last me like until 50 rebirths. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, so instead I'm just gonna play some daily themed crosswords for no reason. Currently looking. Or maybe I could play one of the color games. Probably finish green, do another color game, finish that one, do another color game, and eventually just, yeah. I mean, I started with red. Minor technical difficulties, yeah. I don't want to be copyright matched. Bro, what? Yo, IQ low. Sin. We. No, stop. I don't want to be contact match. God. Sorry, I was just playing some daily themed crosswords for like no reason.
Yes, my child. Yes, yes, yes. Come here, my sweet boy. Oh, how I love you. How absolutely love you. Oh, boo, 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 boo. My sweet, sweet, sweet little baby boo. Oh, yes. He's my sweet little baby. I love you. I love you. Oh.
Sorry, I'm just baby talking my cat.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good, sweet boy child? Who's a good, cute little man? Good boy. Good boy.
I'm just checking some. cool. Dano 1 recently uploaded. WHEEEE.
Its code with each new infection to try and prevent detection from various antivirus software. Now it only does that by making new random comments in the VB code, so it's not that advanced, but it is polymorphic nonetheless. And before we run it, we have a test document here, and as a special feature for this video, we are actually going to be printing this document. So I've got an old Oki Data printer from 1986, a dot matrix printer hooked up, and we're going to print this and see what it does when you use the quick print button. Pretty cool, right? I think that's actually the first time I've had a physical printer for a physical old computer in a video, but you can double check me on that, Dan Super Nerd fans. So let's move right along to the virus. We're going to run this, which loads very slowly. And this is just a dummy document. It's already been infected with WHEEEE, and now our PC is infected too, and every new Word document we open or create on this machine will be infected as well, as it infects the global template. If we look in Tools, there used to be a Tools macro window here where we could go look at the macros, as well as the template option, which also shows you the macros that are in a project. This virus removes those options from the menu bar, so now we can no longer access them in that fashion. However, it does not disable hotkeys. Alt F8 brings up the macro window, and we can see all of WHEEEE's added virus macros. So it's got 5 macros, one when the document closes, one when it opens, one when we print, which is why we have the printer, and then a couple others that are just designed to prevent you from viewing the code. And since we're in here viewing the code, I'd say that has failed. But now that we've infected this PC, we are going to close out of this, close this document. Yeah, Clippy, sure, we can save that. And let's go back to our test document and try printing it one more time. But this time we're going to go to File Print, like the virus was hooking in its macro. So we're going to print, and I don't remember typing all of that. What is that anyway? Well, it's kind of hard to tell from here, but let's try printing it and see what we can see. So here is what the printed document actually ended up looking like. We have a rather voluptuous looking woman, but the dot matrix printer seems to have skewed a lot of the important aspects of it. I'm probably gonna have to blur that part right there. That's a little risque. But then at the bottom it has our actual document again. So the virus inserts this lovely image of a naked woman into everything you print on an infected computer. Wow. Boy, isn't that something. Now, depending on your desire for that sort of entertainment in the mid to late 90s and the quality and dependability of your dial-up internet connection, this virus may have actually been very beneficial for you. Because there was a time in history where you had to take what you could Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at the Memorial Windows 95 and 98 virus, and considering the subject matter of this particular virus, I thought it would be fitting to sort of pay tribute to one of the leading antivirus researchers and basically developers that the world recently lost. His name was Peter Zor. He worked for Symantec, F-Secure, McAfee, you name it, and developed many different systems, and basically just sort of helped to pioneer the field of antivirus research and technology. I wrote a lot of books. I have one in particular of his called The Art of Computer Virus Research and Defense, which there is a link for in the description if you want to check it out. It does give a very comprehensive look at the history of computer viruses, as well as breaks them down and just sort of gives a very, very detailed, very good overlook of the computer virus scene. And he will be missed. So, let's get down to the virus. This is actually one of the most complex Windows 95 and 98 viruses. However, most of that goes under the hood in infecting files, and I won't be able to really show you that. But what makes it so complex is that, oops, as you can see, I did not install the correct DLL for the virus to run, so we'll go ahead and do that really quick right now. I have it in here somewhere. I think I have to view hidden folders. But anyway, this virus infects not only Windows 95 and 98 files, but also MS-DOS.com and .exe files. So, you're not even sure what you're working with. The virus authors knew that in order to reach the most people, there were still a lot of people using MS-DOS bulletin board systems in these days, so they needed to infect those type of files as well in order to spread this virus. And as you can see, it's very large, over 34 kilobytes, and most of that goes into that code, and also contains several antivirus functions. So when we run it, we don't really see much of anything. It's very stealthy.
So, to the barely any viewers that watch Dano Opt 1, fun fact. Hold on, let me type it out in chat. There you go, you learned something new. But if you watched Dano Opt 1, then hey, welcome.
It hides its presence on the system very well. You can't see, well, actually we just see programs crashing. That's not generally what you want to see in a virus, but seems to have broken everything. But that's alright. Anyway, we'll switch over the date. Oh, we can't switch the date because it's broken. Well, that's fun. We'll restart and we'll see if we can fix anything with this. If it will let us restart. In fact, we're just going to hard reset this virtual machine. Okay, things are still crashing. Things are still crashing a lot. Okay, we're gonna need to boot into DOS really quick and change the date so we can see this virus in action. Activates on the 10th of April. And we should see its payload after we boot back into into Windows. We're still erroring. It's not really what I wanted to see. Here we go. If we run the virus, we can see that it's actually, as the name suggests, just a memorial virus. Clinton Haynes, also known as Harry McBungus, Terminator Z, and Talon died of a drug overdose on his 21st birthday, April the 10th of 1997. During his time as a virus writer, he wrote the No Frills Family, X Fungus, Daemon, and 1984 viruses. He was a good friend of Vlad, and so we write this virus in his honor. We hope it's good enough to do him justice. Vlad remembers, rest in peace. And you'll see this on every executable you try to run on April the 10th, as basically just an overreaching tribute to their fallen friend. Well, actually, all of our programs seem to be corrupted, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but I guess that's what virus writers would want to have their friends remembered by. As we can see, CD player still works, but I guess a few of these files were infected incorrectly, which caused them to be corrupted. But as you can see, everything we run gets this pop-up message with it, even though we can't see it. Well, it was popping up. You see, viruses never act the way you expect them to whenever you're running and recording. See, FTP does it. I don't know why everything else doesn't do it. This does it. So basically, it doesn't delete any files or format your drive. It's just a tribute to their friend that they lost, which is quite touching in a way. And so, that's about it for the Memorial virus, and thank you for watching. Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at the Prism Windows 95 and 98 virus. This virus actually spreads by infecting exe and DLL files, so we'll go ahead and run them once. We get this message telling us that it is a GOAT file from Sophos, apparently. And it is 4,096 bytes long, or at least it was before the virus infected it. And so, right now you probably don't see anything wrong, but now that it's introduced on your system, it will infect all executables as they are run or accessed in memory. So, we just infected calculator, and let's see the payload, which activates on the 1st, 11th, 13th, and 26th of each month, where every time you run an infected program, this happens. Puts up a fake blue screen of death, its own custom text, made by spam coder in Russia, apparently. To be continued with win32.kursk2000. I've never heard of that. Maybe I should look it up. Anyway, press enter to continue, and then it executes the file. However, when it displays that blue screen of death, it also corrupts a random sector on the hard drive by overwriting it with virus code. So, after you run files enough times, your disk will be pretty much trashed. So go ahead and change this to the 11th. And we'll see the same symptoms. Trying to run my computer. Shit is going down. Go ahead and run a few files. It's pretty annoying too. I mean, blue screen message mocking you every time you run anything on your computer. CD player. Oh. Defrag. Oh, got a lot. And then it crashed. Exit. Close. Explorer is dead. There was an internal error. One of the windows you were using will be closed from Internet Explorer, apparently. But we weren't running Internet Explorer, so that's kind of odd. Interesting. I'm assuming we're getting some pretty significant corruption by now. We'll go ahead and run this a lot. I'm hoping at some point, by just running a bunch of infected files, it'll just crash the whole PC. Maybe we'll get an actual blue screen of death that's not faked. So with every one of these, it is corrupting another sector on the hard drive. Oh crap, Windows protection error. Alright, we need to restart our computer apparently. Let's go ahead and boot it back up, see if we can still boot into Windows. Oh crap, Device file that is specified in the system.ini file is damaged. Okay, I don't care. Continue. Normal. I don't think this is normal boot up behavior. This is actually pretty bad. Let's see if we can boot into safe mode. Just why not? Safe mode. Nope. Oh wait, it's got the loading bar going. We're still missing half of the image, but that's alright. Top half of that image was overrated anyway. Just taking up space. Come on. Boot. Boot into safe mode. Do it. Do it. I don't think it's gonna do it. Because we're running. Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at one of my personal favorite DOS viruses just because it's so unique in its payload and just everything it really does, called WHEEEE. And I'd like to apologize for the quality. I mean, this is probably the best I can do. I'm looking into getting a VGA capture card, but for now I would really like these videos to be in high definition. I just so happen to have this camcorder that picks up on this CRT really well at 1080p. And I've noticed a lot of confusion, especially in my latest video, and across all my videos really, where people are arguing back and forth, no, he's using VMware, no.
Hello, I'm currently on a road trip to pick up an interesting piece of computer history. I got an email recently from a guy named Matt who said he had acquired an early portable computer that has a color screen. And so I looked up the computer online and saw that it came out in 1982. And this struck me as very interesting since I've always been told that the Commodore SX64 was the first portable with a color screen. And that came out around 1984, I believe. Matt lives in the small town of Brownwood, Texas, and I'll be coming from Fort Worth, Texas. It's a pretty long drive, so we agreed to meet in the middle in a town called Stephenville, Texas.
So this is a bit of an interesting or different road trip for me because normally when I go on a road trip, I'm going down interstate highways and, the speed limit is usually pretty constant around 70 miles an hour or something like that. This is a rural highway. And so it's kind of weird because the speed limit is constantly changing between like 75 miles an hour and I'm going like 30 right now as we're passing through a small little city. So that's kind of weird. But also I'm driving an all-electric vehicle, and since we're away from the interstates, there's no charging stations or infrastructure out here anywhere, which shouldn't be a huge problem because I should have enough battery range to make the whole trip, because I think it's like 150-mile round trip that I'm doing, so we should be okay.
So I met up with Matt at a little restaurant and had lunch with him, and of course took the computer and put it in my car. And of course now I have it back at the studio. So let's take a look at it. In principle, it's designed similar to the compact portable of the same era, with a carry handle on the back and some fold-out legs on the front. Okay, let's move this thing around here. The keyboard is an interesting design since the keyboard legs also double as the release mechanism. And there we are, the Sanyo MBC-775. And even the logo itself has the blue, green, and red to let you know this machine has color.
So the keyboard is pretty yellowed, although interestingly enough, it's mostly just the bezel. The actual keys themselves don't look too bad. Now, this does have a standard XT type layout. You've got the function keys over to the left. There's only 10 of them, and just like an XT, there's no actual individual cursor keys. You would have to use the ones on the number pad.
It's also interesting that the bottom of the keyboard isn't yellowed at all, mostly just the top. As for this part of the computer, it's hard to say if this is the original color or not, but I doubt it. Now, I'm sure everyone's wondering if I'm going to retro-brite it, but the answer is no. First of all, because this doesn't actually belong to me, although I'm sure Matt probably wouldn't mind if I were to retro-brite it for him, but also because I have to go back to Stephenville this weekend to return this, so I just simply don't have enough time. Let's turn it around and check out the rear features. We've got a door over here, which appears to house expansion slots. It's weird that two of them are shorter. We'll figure out the meaning of this later when we take it apart. This also appears to be some cracked plastic. And we've got another door down here. And we've got both a digital RGB and composite video output for external monitors. And over here are just some adjustments for the internal CRT. And lastly, over here is the power supply. Now, I suspect this hole is for a power cable, much like the Compact does. Of course, there's a plastic door that is missing right here. In fact, you can see the little latch for it here. So I wanted to make a quick size comparison to the Compact Portable 1. The Sanyo unit is at least an inch taller here, but it isn't even the size I noticed most of all, it's the weight. The Compact is by no means light, coming in at 28 pounds. But the Sanyo is a whopping 43.1 pounds, and I can definitely feel the difference when carrying them. Well, let's set this thing up. I'll extend the bottom legs and get a power cord attached, and let's power it on. So it shows it has 256K of RAM, and the floppy drive light is on. However, it never actually gives any sort of message, such as to insert a boot disk. Anyway, I'll insert a DOS disk, and immediately it starts to boot DOS. So we've got our A prompt, and there are two things I noticed right away. For one, the picture is super sharp for a computer of this era. The second thing I noticed is the flickering screen when scrolling, and this is a telltale sign of the original CGA design. Later cards managed to eliminate this flicker. Well, I hate to toot my own horn again, but I'd like to play something, and I don't have a lot of software handy on 5¼ inch floppy disks that will run on 256K of RAM. So Planet X3 it is. By the way, these disk drives are an interesting design. It's surprisingly easy to line up the disk for insertion, and the closing mechanism is also very easy to use. I like it. Let's start Planet X3, and here we go, in its color CGA glory. I say that a bit sarcastically. In fact, this is one of the things I find a little perplexing about this machine. And while CGA technically has 16 colors, the graphics modes usually only have 4, and to be honest, I usually find the games more appealing on a monochrome monitor like the one in the Compact. So it's weird that they went with the trouble to design a color screen for CGA systems. My guess is they were probably thinking more about the 16 color text modes at the time, and I don't have an easy way to demonstrate those at the moment. Of course, I can show you the warm CGA palette if that's more to your liking. So doing a little research on this thing, I had initially found this listed on the Obsolete Computer Museum's website with an introduction date of 1982. Now if this were true, it would mean that it was the first color portable, beating out the Commodore SX64 by a couple of years. However, looking at this magazine article in Creative Computing, of which this issue was released on August of 1985, it appears the computer was just coming onto the market at this point. I also found it listed on this website, which said it was released in 1984, and goes on to say the initial price was $2,599, or adjusted for inflation, that would be like $6,668 in today's money. So I think it's safe to say the first website was probably incorrect, and thus the Commodore SX64 remains the first portable with a color screen. However, we can definitely say this is the first IBM PC compatible portable computer that had a color screen. Some other interesting things to note from the review in Creative Computing. The author praises the computer for the color screen and the fact that it runs at 8 MHz, which is about 67% faster than my Compact Portable 1. However, the author has a few negative things to say as well, for example, the heavy weight of it. But the worst part, in my opinion, is that he said they tried numerous IBM PC applications and found the Sanyo could only run about 50% of them. Now, this was everything from productivity software to video games. So I guess I'll do some testing of my own. Let's take this thing apart. It looks like there's just 2 screws, one on each side, to release the top panel. And yep, that was it. So that was easy enough, but now where do we go? I do see the internal speaker here. Well, it looks like this shield here will come off by simply loosening some screws and then just sliding it off like so. And I'll just disconnect the speaker. And yeah, I see what appears to be 3 card slots, and one of them is filled with a giant card of some sort. So I removed this card, and one of the things I realized is that this isn't just any ordinary card. It's actually most of the motherboard. I say most because the card slots are still on the bottom, and yep, there's the 8088 CPU. And it has quite a few jumper wires on the back. Ironically, the CGA card is integrated into the bottom PCB. Now, what I want to do next is install this XT IDE interface, which allows me to use a compact flash card as a hard drive. And this will allow me to easily test many pieces of software because it makes it so easy to transfer data from a modern computer. And on that front, I have good news and bad news. The good news is the card's internal BIOS comes up on the screen and it recognizes the compact flash card. The bad news is it won't boot from it. Now, I can boot from the DOS floppy I already had, but when I run fdisk, I notice that it considers the flash card a non-DOS partition. Now, this is probably due to running such an old version of MS-DOS, but one of the things I quickly discovered is that I could not get it to boot any version of MS-DOS newer than 2.11. Now, all I could get was the starting MS-DOS splash screen, then it would lock up. So that being the case, I set up another MS-DOS compatible computer so I can make some floppy disks with different games on them. Now, I wanted to show off some of the games that run in text mode because they would be very colorful. However, surprisingly, very few of them worked. Flash Attack, for example, starts to load, but once the game starts, the screen goes nuts. Now, I suspect this may be down to the memory design of the original CGA cards, which is related to that flickering I mentioned earlier when listing a directory. I tried running the Lost Adventures of Croz, which is another text-based game that's only supposed to require 128K, but it actually says program too big to fit in memory. So, since this is not really true, I'm guessing this boils down to an incompatibility. Next, I tried Lawnmower, another text-based game, and it starts off like it's going to work, but then something just doesn't work right once the game starts. So that's another one marked off the list, and I'm starting to wonder if any software is going to run on this thing. Next, I tried Miss Pac-Man, and remarkably, this game actually works, that is, if you ignore the garbage on the sides of the screen. Not sure what's causing that, but the game more or less plays correctly. But since this runs in graphics mode, there isn't a lot of color to be seen. The last game I tried was Ultima 3, which only requires 128K of RAM and CGA, and surprisingly, it works perfectly. Of course, again, it's in graphics mode, so there isn't much color to see, but I got the idea to hook up an external monitor. I'm going to use my Commodore 1084 since it supports RGB and composite video. One of the benchmarks I'm doing on all old CGA systems these days is to see which ones actually display the correct colors in composite video. Almost all of the clones have the wrong colors, with the exception of my Compact Portable. So let's see what this one does. Now at the moment I have the monitor in RGB mode, so it's displaying exactly the same thing as the internal monitor, but let's flip it over to composite mode, see how it looks. Well, I finally have one good thing to say about it. It does have the correct composite colors. The grass is green and the water is blue, so this looks correct. So I suppose I should try Planet X3 again using composite mode. And yep, everything looks right. So yeah, green grass and blue water. And just to try some of the landscapes, here's the red look of Inferno and the white and blue look of the North Pole map. And the cruel irony behind this is that all of this nice color is only visible on an external composite display, and the internal screen will just show up as black and white. So what's the final word on the Sanyo? Well, to be honest, I'm not very impressed with it. It appears that Sanyo bundled this computer with several productivity applications, which I think was what they intended most people to be using, which I don't happen to have a copy of those handy, and even if I did, in this day and age, they probably wouldn't be very interesting to you. I also don't feel like they tried very hard to make this computer 100% MS-DOS compatible. In fact, one of the things I discovered was that the MS-DOS disk I had been using was the one that Matt got with the computer, and I actually started looking at it and I found out this is not a generic copy of MS-DOS. It's actually a Sanyo branded copy of MS-DOS. Hello and welcome. In this episode, I'm going to be doing another restoration. This time it's going to be this old Osborne 1. I actually picked this thing up a couple of months ago, and it does work, although one of the disk drives is seized up, and it just needs a lot of cleaning and retrowrite. So I'm going to get started on that, and hopefully, if everything works out, I'll give you a good demonstration of it when I'm done. So before we get started, let's take a look at the condition of this thing. Lazy Game Reviews did a really nice episode of Tech Tales describing some of the history of this machine. That's definitely worth watching if you're interested in the Osborne. To summarize, the company behind this helped coin the industry phrase known as the Osborne effect, whereby a company can put itself out of business by advertising an upcoming product too early, thus killing the sales of the current product. So one problem I wanted to point out is this cable has been yanked out of place. This section here should not be here. The problem is the cable plugs in here, but when you go to close it up, you can't because this cable's in the way. And this is supposed to be right here, like that. So we need to fix that. I will plug it in, however. And as you can see, it does boot and Drive A is working. However, I had this machine apart a few days ago, just looking around and testing some things out, and suddenly there was a huge pow, and then smoke started pouring out of the machine. I managed to catch the aftermath on video, and I'll show you later on what caused that. I decided to start with the keyboard. It looked easy enough to disassemble. However, the inside was dirtier than I was expecting, and I also noticed a lot of corrosion on some of the metal, especially on these screws. I began to suspect part of this may have been underwater for a time. I went ahead and popped the little wire out here. I actually think some previous owner may have done that on purpose. Removing the main connector was tough because it was corroded. I did get it off, but you can see what this looks like up close. I was also a little worried about these screws being stuck or just breaking off, but they seem to come out pretty easily. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, I apologize for the background YouTube video. I just tend to watch YouTube whenever I'm bored, so... But now y'all are back to hearing my voice for a little bit. By the way, who am I to blame you? You know, it's actually kind of an inside friend joke at this point. Where, you know, like, normally if one of my friends is stuck, or their vacuum is stuck, they just send me a private chat with nothing but a dot. And honestly, I did it to several of my friends, who, by the way, are actually in the server that I'm in right now. The Ghost World server.
Yucky. So I wasn't sure if these keys were the original color or if they had yellowed over the years, but when I looked at the side, I could see some contrast where less UV light was hitting the keys. I decided the best way to deal with the corrosion was just to soak the screws in vinegar and let them soak overnight. I also decided somewhat reluctantly to put the connector in there. I hope I don't regret this, as I've never tried anything like this before. I figured the worst case scenario is I could just replace the whole connector, as there appeared to be enough slack in the cable. On to the keys. I got my keycap puller out that one of my fans sent me and started pulling these keys. This device definitely makes the job easier, and now I wonder why I didn't have one of these gizmos years ago. This little mat appears to be removable. It's held on by a sticky surface on the back, but it did come off without too much hassle. That will make it easier to clean. There's really nothing else to do here without some major disassemblies, so I'm going to leave this part alone. By the way, I noticed the vinegar was going to town on that corrosion. I took the plastic parts outside to rinse with the garden hose. That will save a lot of time. However, there was still a lot of residue that didn't rinse off, but you can see most of it just wiped off with the paper towel. Next, I went to town with Windex and tried to clean as much of the visible gunk off the surfaces. As usual, I used alcohol to get anything else that was being stubborn. The keys actually looked pretty clean, but when I tried scrubbing them, I could see dirt coming off with the paper towel, so I ended up cleaning all of the keys one by one. So the surfaces were all prepared for retrobrighting. But I had to wait until the next day so there would be some sunlight. So the next morning I went ahead with the usual procedure. Now, I've been experimenting with some new and possibly better ways of retrobrighting. However, those experiments are still ongoing, so for the meantime, I'm going to use the method that is tried and true and tends to work for me. In the past, I've also had good luck with just submerging keys in regular 3% liquid hydrogen peroxide and putting them out in the sun, but it takes quite a lot longer, usually requiring several days. And I've just found that using this stuff works well in just a few hours. I put them out in the sun early in the morning. Next, I got to work on the larger plastic piece. I would need 2 pieces of plastic wrap for this. I always make sure to put a generous coat on the plastic wrap itself, and then I paint another generous coat on the computer parts. And then I put that out in the sun. I've been warned that Osborne plastic may be more prone to melting or warping, so I wanted to avoid having this out in the hottest part of the day since it is in the middle of summer in Texas. I've had some viewers send me some photos of their projects that ended up with streaked or uneven appearances like these. And I've experienced this a few times myself, but I've found that it can usually be avoided by setting a timer to remind me every 20 minutes to come out and rotate the pieces and massage the cream around to ensure even exposure. While waiting on the retrobright, I had a look at my screws here. After rinsing them off, they look much better even if the original shiny coating was eaten away. I also took this opportunity to work on this little black mat that goes under the keys. It was actually super easy to clean with some Windex. I also wanted to work on this pin header because it had a lot of corrosion on it. I decided to use baking soda. I just sprayed a little water on it to make it like cream, and then I used a toothbrush for about 5 minutes. And I put it under the sink, but I was careful to only get water just where I needed it to rinse off the baking soda. So the connector isn't perfect, but it looks a lot better. And so I'll put that little mat back on. I also noticed there's a little brace that helps with the spacebar, but it was kind of stiff, so I applied some lithium grease to it in 3 different places, and that did seem to loosen it up quite a bit. After the keys had been out for about an hour, I decided to have a peek at one and see how it was coming along. I could immediately see how the color had changed to a more gray type appearance, but I could tell a hint of tan on one side, so I decided to put it back and give them another hour or two. This may have been a mistake, as you'll see later. I also brought in the main plastic piece, and I wanted to check the temperature, and fortunately it was only 112 degrees Fahrenheit, so I don't think it's in danger of melting yet. However, I can still tell part of it's yellow here on the side, and that was the worst spot, so I'll put it back out for another hour or so. I brought the keys in again and decided they were done. I started drying them off, and they looked absolutely fantastic. I couldn't have been happier with the way they looked. But something really odd happened that's never happened to me before. About 10 minutes after I dried the keys off, I noticed they all started changing colors. They started getting these weird streak patterns on them. After about 20 minutes, every single key was afflicted with this, and there didn't seem to be any way to cure it. It looked like the case plastic might have been done, so I decided to rinse it off and have a look. After drying it off, I could see that it looked really good, but it still had just a hint of yellowing in that one corner, which was the worst affected part. That's probably the corner that sat in the sun the most during its life. But I also realized I forgot to get this edge here on the other side, since it's visible when put together. So I reapplied the cream and set it back out for another couple of hours. In the meantime, I decided to start putting my funny colored keys back on. Fortunately, I had taken a photo of the keyboard and printed it out for reference. I started with the spacebar, which is one of only 2 keys that had a spring underneath, the other being the return key. Putting the keys back on is usually the most enjoyable part of a keyboard restoration. Some of these keys can be confusing though, such as these arrow keys, or like the 6 and 9 key, as well as a handful of other ones. However, if you look closely, there's a slant to the bottom of the keys that shows which way they go. And, well, that's it. I now have what could be best described as a marble-colored keyboard. Time to reassemble the rest of the keyboard. Time to rinse off the plastic one more time and hope it's done. The top ledge looks good now. There's still a hint of discoloration there, but I think I managed to get most of it. However, by keeping it in the sun longer, there's now some streaking here and also some on the bottom. It's not anything I'm terribly worried about, as it isn't nearly as noticeable as the keys. I reattached this cable, and I hope it still works. I did rinse all of the vinegar out and dry it off with compressed air. And I'm going to put the cable through the hole here where I think it's supposed to go. So, yeah, I think that's better. And here goes the bottom piece. Before I get started on the rest of the Osborne, I wanted to test the keyboard to make sure I didn't damage anything. I also want to do a test fit here. The color difference is remarkable. It's hard to believe that's the same keyboard we saw earlier. Here's a comparison shot from earlier. And back to what we have now. I fired up the Osborne, and it does appear that all of the keys are working properly. I tried every key on the keyboard. Alright, so the keyboard took a little longer than I was originally anticipating, and it didn't come out exactly like I was expecting. I mean, I think I'm pretty happy with the appearance of the case plastics, but the keys, I'm not really sure what to say about those. They look, in my opinion, they look better than they did before. Definitely different than they did before. But they still don't look like I really anticipated them different than they did. I don't know. Anyway, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I do have some new retrobrighting techniques. I'm trying to refine on some test equipment right now, stuff that I don't really care about. And I'm having some positive results with some methods, so I'm going to get to that eventually. But for the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to be the end of part 1 of this video, and I'm about to start working on part 2, retrobrighting the case plastics and fixing some of the internal problems that the Osborne has, as well as I'm going to show you some neat things about the Osborne computers in general and how they work and what you can do with them, and etc. So stick around for that, and I'll see you next time.
So this is gonna be a middle of the stream nap. I'm not sure if any other YouTuber has done that before, but it's when a YouTuber like goes to nap during a live stream. I have an alarm set for 4 p.m. so that way I know when the update will drop. So yeah. Probably gonna drink a little more of my unsweet tea first, and then just gonna go sleep. Because frankly, I'm tired. I really only slept at 12 a.m. last night. Oh, come on. Come on, you idiot. Wire. Alright, and the microphone's gonna be muted. So, catch you all at 4 p.m. blorp. Hand machine broken. My computer's getting hot. Sorry. I'm finishing Void Deb, so I'm wee. So there's 6 minutes remaining until the update goes live, or at least supposedly 6 minutes until the update goes live. So me and someone that I know as Joe, or Ikomi, well, we did chat a little last night, and let it be safe to say, unlike the other developers' rewards in the Void, Gorgo 7's is predictably random. And what I mean by predictably random is that it's predictable, but yet still a little bit random. Like, he just gives you kind of randomish rewards, even if you have rebirthed like 10, 22, 50, 100 times. It would still, like, not make much sense to you. Four minutes. I have to speedrun Grove's quest. Yeah, guys, I don't know why people just really want me to keep my inventory on. I gotta hurry. It's almost 4. Oh, I wish I would have gone magnetism sooner. It would make this a lot more easier. Although the update will be delayed by 1 to 2 minutes. So really it's not going to be the end of the world, but generally 4 PM is when the game normally updates. And yes, this is the update week stream. I stream this bi-monthly, like every other week from the first week of any month. 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. I have to speed run. I have to speed run. I'll finish just in time to get all the digital remnants and unlock the maze. But I won't have time to fight Bo. But I won't have time to complete the maze, fight Bo, talk to the developers. Oh no, 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 I have to hurry. I have to hurry, the alarm's gonna go off in a couple seconds. By I mean a couple seconds, I mean like over 30. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, Anon, hurry. H-U-R-R-Y. You know what those words mean. And make the ghosts hurry the hell up. Just a few more seconds left. Few more seconds left. Damn it. It's already 4. Ow! My phone's hot. I will keep the stream on for as long as I see no sign of the update screen. By the way, I am running my computer on a hotspot from my phone, so the fact that the hotspot is using up phone battery. You know, if it's an actual Easter update, I'm going to be surprised. So it turns out I might actually have enough time. Oop, forgot to talk to for when I complete the event and all its quests. I will then proceed to hop into the void and rebirth. So the moment I see that message of the server is gonna update in a little bit, like it usually gives a 10-second timer to save any work that you're doing, collect any items, stop vacuuming the bosses or ghosts. I'm waiting for that. But if the update is delayed by more than a few minutes, then I'll keep the stream on. So the stream will continue running for as long as I don't see that game update message. I mean, it did show in one of my past streams. Alright. That's the last switch I needed to flick. Alright. Bo's Void Cane picked up. So it looks like I might actually have time to fight Boss Bo. Live, by the way. So, here we go. Oh yeah, here's my current pet team, by the way. 2 limiteds, 1 event, 3 rebirth pets, and 3 cosmic wings. Well, actually 2 events, because I forgot Fluff Intruder is an event pet. I mean, the the Easter event is literally just a huge event in the history of Ghost Simulator. Wait, full screen. Oh, come on, a third one? Looks like stream's ongoing still. Because, you know, game didn't update yet. Good yay. Alright, Bo, this is the end. Yeah, you're a genius, Bo. You literally started a war! But hey, at least I have my crown now. So now I best better, you know, like, dump all my gems in here. I wonder if anyone has gotten Ghostly Rift Gum from, like, any of the event machines. Oh yeah, let me exit out full screen mode. Wow, my computer's just hot enough to cook an egg. I'm joking. If it was really that hot, my computer would melt. And be dead. Alright, well... Event's still being delayed. just getting very hot. Devs, I know this is a very big update, but please, please let the update screen show. I want to end this stream. I want to end this stream. Hold on. Gotta check to see if this is real. Taco Cat's a palindrome. Update. Where's the update screen? Guys, the update, I just want to end the stream, but I made a promise to myself that if the update screen doesn't come, I'll keep the stream online. But if it does, I'll end the stream. Unicorn. What? Please, my computer's getting hot. Devs, please, just release the update. Release the update. I'm gonna check some. COVID case not online. God damn it, not the link again. I'm sorry, Karen, what? I'm sorry, Karen, what? want my stream to end. Let my stream end. Please. Please update. Please. Please. I want this game to update badly. My computer's gonna get hot enough to fry a freaking egg. Not in the good way either. Fran. Doop boop doop boop doop boop 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 Probably gonna go get magnetism while I wait. I'm bored. I guess y'all are gonna have to see me do Jesse here while I wait for the update message. And when that update message comes, hopefully I'll end the stream. But I'm not expecting much, because the devs are late updating this. Yes, I know it's a very big update. But honestly, I just want to end this stream. Hold on, let me see how long I've been streaming for. Three hours. 3 hours since I booted up OBS and begun the stream. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need my air conditioner in my window soon. By now I would have seen the update screen, but it's not there. Also, I'm having to play Ghost Simulator with the trackpad because my mouse is basically cooked. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry. This was a bad day to stream. I really want my air conditioner in here now. Because that way my computer will at least be cooled. By the way, happy 1-year death anniversary to my mom's old laptop that I use from December 2020 to March, April 2021. What the fuck? Why did it? Guess I have to keep this stream on for a few hours more. Oh dear. And I really don't want to keep the stream on any. When the Cove and K reel. The Cove and K is real! And she said, hi, YouTube. Say hi to YouTube real quick, Cove and K. Hi, YouTube. Check out Cove and K's channel. You can look her up on YouTube. I'm not going to edit the description because by the time she releases the update, the stream would have ended. Yeah. Yes, 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 yes! I can end the stream! Woo! So, this is the end of the stream right here, guys. The stream is over, finally, after 3 hours, 17 minutes. Woo! Woo! Damn it, Roblox crash. Or at least it's loading very slowly. Ah. No, wait, no, wait, no, wait. Woo! Goodbye, everyone! Just look up